Hey guys, it's Core Ross, and today we're testing the mid-season balancing patch, which is currently on the test server for Rainbow Six Siege. These include changes to Gridlock, Oryx, Fuze, and Nomad. And I would consider all of these changes to be buffs with no nerfs to any of them. Now this is the first patch for the test server for the mid-season, so it's possible we'll get more with more changes, as we'll just have to wait and see. This test server period will probably last around about 2 weeks, and I would expect the actual patch to potentially come out before the end of the month, and of course that will be on all platforms. Currently the console is one patch behind, that will be bundled up into the future patch for mid-season. Now let's get around to testing. We're going to start with Gridlock. I think the changes to Gridlock's tracks are probably the most significant out of all the changes in this mid-season patch, and here is the example of the track stinger going off on the test server. You can see how those outer ring ones really do go out a lot quicker. This is how it is on the live servers right now, and you can feel that slower pace as it slowly puts them out over time. And of course, it's not that bad. At this speed, I'm actually quite happy with it. But if we put it side by side, you can really see how much faster it comes out on the test server. And that is going to be a real pain in the ass to clear up. And yeah, overall, I think it's an amazing change for Gridlock. And it will mean getting those out faster and causing much more trouble for defense far easier, which is, in my opinion, awesome because I love playing her. Now in the patch notes for the changes, there's a lot of different figures on the things that have been sped up, but also there is a few things slowed down, and it's kind of hard to tell. So one of the major things is the fact that the outer ones come out just way quicker, but there's actually a delay. So when you first throw it out, normally on the live servers right now, it immediately starts putting out, as soon as it lands on the ground, it will immediately start spewing out those additional ones. However, on the test server, even though everything else has been sped up, the actual initial one, there's a little bit of delay, giving defenders the opportunity to take out the initial one before it even manages to send any more out. But it's such a small change that when you look side by side, you don't really see it. You only see the sped up parts. So overall, it's way faster. There is a tiny little opening for defenders to stop that very first one, but it's so small, I don't think it's going to make a difference. And yeah, again, it's a really good change and significantly faster to put all three of them out and absolutely cover an area in spikes, which is of course very intimidating for defenders. I've also seen my fair share of attackers who are also scared of the tracks because, of course, it looks like it's really dangerous. There's a whole bunch of spikes, but of course attackers can walk on it fine. But I see so many new players going out and actually shooting up the track stingers before they move in because they think it's going to hurt them. And I don't blame them because you don't usually assume that you can walk on big metal spikes. So let's move over to Oryx's changes. So here he is with 3 charges of his ability to go. He's going to punch through a wall on the live servers. You can see he goes down to 0. He then has to sit there and wait for it to charge back up, which takes 8 seconds. And then he can go through another wall. And of course, every time he takes 5 damage. This is how it is on the test server. So we've got 3, we just used 1, we still have 2, we've used another one, and we've used another one. Now the cooldown has gone up to 12 seconds, but if you look, it doesn't feel too bad. It actually charges up in a considerably reasonable time, where I don't feel like it's actually a problem, especially because you're not losing a couple of charges when you go through a wall. So yeah, overall, big improvement there for Oryx when it comes to charging through walls. Will it make you pick him more? I'm not very confident on that, but let me know in the comments below what you think. Now again, in the patch notes for Oryx, we had a lot of small numbers changing, which makes it very hard to kind of digest how it's going to affect gameplay. So what I've done here is side-by-side comparisons of knocking down a player, and I wanted to see what has changed about that. So we're knocking Fuze through a wall. There's a lot of different ways we can knock him down, but we're just going to do this as a standard test at the moment. We might go more in depth in the future if there's more subtlety to it. But what I noticed is the recovery time for the enemy is exactly the same. It doesn't change whatsoever. However, Oryx recovery time has increased. Now it's a small amount. It's really hard to see when you're actually playing the gameplay back at normal speed. But you can see he gets his gun up quicker, which of course gives him more of an advantage to take out the enemy. And this is the thing, it is hard to actually hit the player and do this in game, and this will give you a bit more of a chance. What I would maybe like to see is actually Oryx's kind of hitbox for hitting players, so when he's actually doing his charge, maybe to be a bit bigger, because it is very easy to sidestep it when you see it coming. But overall, I think you'd agree with me that all these changes to Oryx are definitely a buff. Even with the recharge time of his ability going up, I still think it's overall a good buff. Now moving on to other changes, we have the change to Nomad's air jab. Now I wouldn't consider this an actual buff, it definitely helps but I think it's more of just bringing it in line with the other abilities in the game. So when you get pushed through a wall, you will now take 5 damage if you get pushed through by an air jab. So that's, certainly a cool little thing, and it means every so often there's going to be an air jab kill, which is going to be great. And certainly this is going to be a lot of fun to see in the kill cams especially. Now one other thing I wanted to check, which is not in the patch notes, and that was what happens if Oryx pushes someone through a wall. Because if Oryx goes through a wall in the live servers right now, he takes 5 damage, but if he pushes someone through the wall, they don't take any damage in live. And of course, to be in line with this new air jab change, it would be smart if the developers also made it so that a player going through the wall also takes 5 damage if pushed by Oryx. And I went and tested it, and it is the case. They have gone and done that. It's not in the patch notes, but it has been done. So this is another really cool place where again you can get a kill cam by actually pushing a player through the wall and killing them. But that means we can actually divert and do a little Mythbusters, because we got 2 new myths to go over. We've got the first one, which is, can an air jab kill you by sending you through a wall? And the answer is yes. As long as you have less than 5 health, you're going to die, which is very cool. And that is confirmed. And of course, we've also got the Oryx one. So can Oryx kill you by pushing you through a wall? And the answer is yes. Another confirmed myth. And of course, gotta have low health, but certainly it is confirmed. And then to wrap this all up, let's have a look at Oryx punching through 3 walls, one after the other, because it looks freaking cool. Now, while he's doing that, let's talk about Fuze. He's getting an extra cluster charge as well. Not going to have to show gameplay for that, but it means he now has a total of 20 grenades on him. That is a hell of a lot of firepower. So if Fuze manages to get, say, above your objective and starts to fuse it, even if he doesn't kill you, he is going to absolutely take out all of your utility. There's going to be nothing left after he's done with it. It is definitely quite insane. Can't wait to see how if that does make it alive, I can't wait to see how that might change how he's used in Pro League and stuff like that. It's going to be interesting anyway. So that's all my tests for today. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below, and if I missed anything you want me to test, let me know. But anyway guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.